Hey, you're probably like, I've seen this outfit before, and it's because you have. I am filming 2 videos at once because that's just what you have to do when you have to do things that you want to do. As you can tell by today's title, we're doing a reading vlog, which I don't do very often because I just don't read that much as I used to. Like last year, I don't know, knocking those books back. My point is that I'm so far behind on my Goodreads reading goal, and I'm not really too sad about it because I have reconnected with the film. But with that being said, there are a lot of books on my TBR shelf and books that I just want to finish reading by the end of the year to make myself feel a little better about not actually hitting my Goodreads goal, because it's just not going to happen. I'm not going to reach it this year. And we're going to see how much I can actually get done reading while I work a 9 to 5, which unfortunately I don't love listening to audiobooks as much because I am a person who is very good at tuning people out. So I can have something on in the background and completely have no idea what's going on because I'm not really paying attention to it. I am listening to one right now, which is an audiobook for a book that I physically own, which I also don't like doing because I'm like, well, why did I buy the book if I'm just gonna listen to the audiobook? But it's okay because at this point I just need it off my TBR shelf. But I am currently listening to Children of Blood and Bone, and I'm kind of liking it. I'm about 42% into the book. If you don't know what it's about, it's basically this story that features African diaspora, where it's basically like these people called Magi have lost their magic. The royals in the story got rid of the magic in the world because they didn't want the, I don't know, the diviners or the magic people to overcome them. This is a very horrible description, but I think it's a really good story, and it's also being made into a TV series, I think, or maybe a movie. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure I talked about it in my fall TBR of the book, so if you want to know more about the book, I would just go watch that video because I'm really bad at describing books. But with that, we're also going to go ahead and talk about the other books I plan to read this week while we're here. It's a very ambitious TBR because I know I'm not going to get through all of these this week. I am currently rereading Normal People because when it gets cold and it's like wintry outside, it's time to reread this. I've actually never reread this, so I've watched the TV series so many times. It's literally my favorite TV series. I really want to reread it, and I also have like one of my closest friends is finally watching Normal People for the first time because she's late to the party. She just watched Gladiator 2 and now understands the appeal of Paul. So she is experiencing Normal People for the first time, which I'm loving witnessing. Also, please excuse my voice. It's not great, and I think if you watched my Christmas decorating video, you would know why. That's good coffee. Then, if you know me as a person, you know my obsession with Romeo and Juliet. I don't know what it is about this story or about this play. I just love it so much, and I did get to go see Kit Connor and Rachel Zegler's performance of it on Broadway for my birthday back in October, and while I was sitting there, realized that I really do just want to read the play. And I did read it when I was in high school, when I was like maybe 14 or 15. I just genuinely did not appreciate it as much. And then my junior year of high school, I got the chance to play Juliet for our competition theater program, and that was really fun. And like, I think that's probably why I love the story so much, is because I have such fond memories of theater, of doing the show. Something else that I've also have picked up quite a few times but finally was able to find a hard copy of it is Open Water by Caleb, I think, Azuma Nelson. I have read the beginning of this book a couple of times and I loved it so much that I kept stopping because I wanted the hard copy of it. So I finally found it at Half Price Books, so I'm definitely thinking, because it's so short, that I will be able to read this in this week as well. Like, all of these books are pretty short because I'm going for quantity. I'm going for quantity, but I also want quality, but I am going for quantity this week. I feel pretty good about this TBR, so we're gonna just go ahead and turn on my audiobook and get back to work and see where the day takes us.
Their canes crack over our footsteps. I whip out the dagger Zane had given me and jam it into the lock's narrow. She breathes at the sight of the grand waterfall created through her touch. It foams in an endless wall of white, pouring into a lake's deep buzz, as if I consumed a whole bottle of rum. But the girl pays me no mind.
Hello.
Hello. How are you? That's how to say hello in Norwegian. In Norway, they really embrace a love of winter and celebrate all season long. Joining on some frosty festivities, just say, the winter theme.
Y'all, sometimes technology is real scary. I came on here to say that I'm done working and I'm doing the Christmas tree right now. So I figured we could do a little unboxing or debagging of the book that I got. These are always a hit or miss on whether or not the pill works. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh. Okay. I got Talking at Night by Claire Daverly. If you haven't heard of this book, it's a book that has been constantly touted as like similar to Normal People by Sally Rooney, and I'm pretty sure I wanted to read it when I first heard of it, I think at the later part of last year, earlier this year, but it was still in hard copy and I'm kind of over hardcovers and I just kind of forgot about it. And then my friend and I, who has gotten into reading and specifically gotten into reading romance recently, have been trying to find a book that we wanted to read together. So she sent me this on TikTok, but she doesn't want to read it because, like Normal People, it doesn't have quotation marks, which doesn't bother me. So I started reading it on my Kindle and immediately fell in love with it, so much so that I was like, I can't read any more of this because I know this is going to be like a 5-star read for me and I need the hardcover or like the physical copy. So I'm pretty much, I think, already 30% of the way into this book, but I'm so excited to finally have like the physical copy. For a minute there, I was kind of like getting into having hardcovers of all my books because they were kind of like fun and it was fun finding them for cheap. But I went into Barnes & Noble for the first time in like a very long time, I think maybe a couple of days ago, and I was looking through like all of the literary fiction paperbacks and it reminded me how much I love paperbacks. Something about them just feels so much more intimate and like you can really make them your own, whereas with a hardcover it kind of feels like it's harder to feel like a hardcover is mine because you can't really like mess them up, or they're just kind of cold to me. Like, I don't really know how else to explain it. Hardcovers are just kind of cold and like less intimate and less personal, but something about a paper copy, I just love paperbacks so much. So I'm so excited to get into this book, or like to finish it this week, because I'm definitely gonna finish it this week. There's just been so many good passages and moments in this story already that I just know it's going to be a 5-star read. But like I said, right now I'm decorating the Christmas tree for my other video, so we're taking a pause from reading. I think I read at least like another 10% of Children of Blood and Bone while I was working, and it's getting really good. I'm about 50% of the way in now, I believe, and with that, like, the plot has picked up a lot more and there's like some interesting subplots as well. But I definitely can say that I am enjoying it. Good morning. Hello. Yesterday I didn't really get much reading done, quite obviously, because I didn't show as much. After I talked about reading listening to the audiobook for Children of Blood and Bone, I didn't do any more reading for the rest of the night. I'm obviously working right now because it is 12:40, so my lunchtime is coming up, so I think I might do a little bit of reading while I'm on lunch. I'm currently watching, of course, I love December because it's when everybody starts to do like their daily vlogs. I'm going through my rounds right now. Yeah, just a little update for where we are in the day. I don't know what that is. I think it might be like a bleach stain from cleaning, but I am still in my PJs and I will be for a while because I think I'm gonna wash my hair today, but I need to go to the store to get some more of the stuff that I need to straighten my hair. Yeah, that's the goal for today. Do some more reading and do my hair, and then I also have to do like some errands later on. So I'm just, like I said, working for now, which is not fun, but very grateful for it. See you later.
not us. Another body sits behind him, bound to a large tree root, head hidden behind it to search for the truth behind all the smiles and lies. He thinks we're alone.
Hello, I've eaten my lunch and I am about, let's see, 57% of the way through this book, and I'm really loving it now that I'm actually like in it and paying attention and understanding like the plot points. I wanted to come on here and say that there's this like really interesting thing happening in the story so far, but basically this book is about a whole quest of Zaylee going to restore magic in the country. I've noticed a lot in Black media, there's always like a hair story quality that comes with casting Black characters in film, and it's fun to see it happening in this book. I bring it up because they have this, like I said, stark white hair and it's like pinned straight, but as she continues to grow in her power and grow and use her magic, it starts to turn curly, which I think is just so interesting, and I think I notice it so much in media when I watch it. There's a TV show called Reasonable Doubt on Hulu that I can't remember the main actress or the main actor's name in it, but her character, she's like this really high power attorney at a predominantly white firm, and when she's in the office and when she's working, she has like this honestly really awful straight wig that she wears, but when we see her more in her own element, in her own environment with her friends and family and loved ones, she has her natural hair. So I think it's just such an interesting element. So I just wanted to talk about that because I'm really enjoying this story and how the author has incorporated like the element of hair and how that has its own story as well for the Black community. So I think this is a really fun book. If you haven't read it, I definitely recommend it. It is now 3:30. I have an hour long lunch break, so I've been on it for about 30 minutes and I have a meeting at 4 o'clock, so I think I'm gonna read for about 30 more minutes and then, you know, go back to work.
The boy we interrogated, I searched the trunks for a painted symbol of his people, an X with 2 diverging crescents.
Also, because TikTok has rotted literally everybody's brain for book talk community, if you're a person who needs tropes, because I sometimes need to know what the tropes are, it's giving enemies to lovers, which is my favorite, which is honestly my favorite trope. And I mean true enemies, like they were just fighting, trying to kill each other, and now they're kind of being a little civil, so I'm into that.
Push every part of her and this virus away. When it's gone, I feel lighter. Though the
Good morning, or hello, it's a new day. I didn't film anything yesterday just because, for really no reason. I think I just didn't think about it, to be honest. So I did end up finishing Children of Blood and Bone, and this was so good. The audiobook really changes the game for this entire story. It makes it come alive. This book is based off of Nigerian spirituality, so there are a lot of Nigerian words that I just wouldn't, like, is literal gibberish in my brain because I don't know it. So the audiobook really helped with those parts of it. But this is an incredible story. If you haven't read it, I 100% recommend it. The author's note at the end of it was so moving. Basically, it was about how Tomi encouraged and inspired to write this story after the increase of police brutality. Reading it at the end of the story makes me go back and think about how the parallels line up of like the story of this book and also the story of like America right now. If you're someone who, kind of like me in the past, where it was like, this is a reality that I live in the world, when I read I want to escape it, which is just such a privileged way to think of reading, because really reading inherently is political, and I know that's been a big conversation topic on TikTok after the election, of basically saying how TikTok or book talk should not be political because books aren't political, but like that is just so inherently incorrect, because reading is political in itself, knowing that there have been communities that have been kept from it historically. So like in the past I've kind of been like, I want to read more fun, uplifting, encouraging, inspiring, fun books because the world is so heavy, which is a 100% fair way to think of reading. But it's also like, you can accept that as a truth as well as accepting the truth that books are political. And so while this book is still heavy in the sense of like understanding the parallels and what inspired her to write the story, it's also just a really fun, not fun, but like it is a fun book. I think the character development with each character is really really great to see. There's of course a little bit of romance, but it's just an interesting book and I loved it. It's nuanced. There's just so many elements between like grief and loss and coming into the person that you're destined to be. It's just a really beautiful story, to be honest, and I think it's something that everyone should read. It's an easy read because I believe it's a YA novel, so it's very easy language, very easy sentence structure to get behind. The narrator of the audiobook does an incredible job of giving each character their own like voice and like really adding to the ad-libs and everything and the atmosphere. It's just a really good book. I think this is like the first time in a series that I've read where the second and third book are shorter than the first book. Like that's not something that usually happens, I think. So I'm kind of interested in seeing where the story ends. And with that being said, I can tell towards the end of this book, like I can picture it in my head what the movie is going to look like. So I'm so excited to see the movie. I can't recommend it enough. It's just good. So I'm very excited that I finished this book and that I actually decided to pick it up. Kind of switching gears now because I did finish reading fantasy last night, and then before I went to bed I picked up Talking at Night, and oh, I didn't realize that that had a heavy subject. So I read about, I want to say 20 or 30 pages of that before I fell asleep. So I think that's going to be what I prioritize reading today to hopefully get it done, because I am about 40% of the way through that book. As we always know, I'm working. It's currently Thursday, December 5th, and it is 1:43. Yeah, so if you thought I was making a hot chocolate for breakfast, wrong. It is lunchtime. I have a pretty chill day today at work, thankfully. Kind of slower towards the end of the month because we have a whole week off for Christmas and New Year's, so it's slower, but we have a lot of things that are due before that break. But I'm a little overwhelmed with the amount of work that I have to do, and I also want to see a movie. Like I haven't been to the movies I think in like maybe 2 or 3 weeks, but the thought of like getting up and going to the movie theater and sitting there for like 6 hours doesn't interest me either. And I say 6 hours because when I go to the movies I always want to see 2 movies, at least 2 movies, because there are so many movies out right now that I want to see. I still haven't had my Glickit night, which I was supposed to have it a couple of weeks ago. I was supposed to have it opening week, but I got sick so I couldn't go to the theater. I'm just overwhelmed with the amount of hobbies that I have because I want to read my book, I want to do some writing, I want to do my journal. I just got a new Bible and I want to go ahead and set up like my Bible tabs as well. So there's so many things that I want to do because I have too many hobbies and I don't know where to start. Like I don't know which one to do. So with that being said, I'm gonna go back to working and I'm gonna go ahead and of course watch my Vlogmas videos for the day and hopefully see what the afternoon / evening has for me, like what I decide to do, whether it be reading or going to go see a movie. And I also need to film my next video for my Vlogmas videos. You know how I said about all the hobbies I have and I have no time? There's only 24 hours in the day and 8 of them need to be sleep and the other 8 are work. It's just so sad the life we live.